Hello, YouTubers. Joe Kersey here on Thursday, November 13th at 14:15 in the afternoon Eastern Time. And I was going to kind of do a mixed format video here that I'd put together in QuickTime. But I thought, well, to do that, I thought, well, I'd use my Canon camera that I use generally, and then my 720 pixel webcam, which I, use on my actual computer. And but when I do that, I'll either do True HD in QuickTime, or I'll use something called QuickTime 7 Pro. QuickTime 7 Pro for Mac OS X, which I had bought originally on December 21st, 2012, and then as it was updated, would install the updates. But since I bought this new machine and had done the hard drive transfer from the old machine to the hard drive transfer to the new machine using the Thunderbolt Ethernet cable transfer, I had not had occasion to use it in terms of making a video. See, the thing about this software is, let's see, I think the format it puts things in is like a dot capital MOV, capital M, capital O, capital V, dot capital, and then the Canon software does it in dot, lowercase MOV, all lowercase MOV. But they'll splice together if you splice it together in QuickTime, and then you can upload it to YouTube. Whereas I can't splice my Canon stuff into the QuickTime stuff, and and in any case, it all has to be in QuickTime. Basically, only records in high def. So this, QuickTime Pro 7 QuickTime 7 Pro will not record in high def. If it does, I don't know how to do it. Let's put it that way. So I thought, well, maybe I'd be doing some stuff on the deck today and this and that. And I thought, well, okay. So anyway, so I tried to. I thought, well, let's just see if this works. Well, as it turns out, it didn't work. What it tried to do is it tried to sell me another copy of what I'd already bought. It didn't recognize me. Well, it recognized me enough to say that it wanted me to upgrade. So I guess it didn't recognize me. Let those developers with ears and algorithms hear and fiddle with. So it became, it clearly became a descent into circular hell. Try to do this, try to do that. Repeat this, repeat that, repeat that. So after a fair amount of thrashing around, and thank the good Lord, I basically am a compulsive pack rat saver of all things near and far. Witness witness. Well, oh, what did I do? Well, anyway, I found the original registration for the software that I had purchased on December 21st, 2012. Oh, that just seems like ages ago now, doesn't it? No, not even 2 years ago. So, with this in hand, I did as the very circular people had advised me, call the Apple support number, which I did. And I got, after, well, not an unreasonable amount of time waiting, somewhere around 12 minutes. It certainly wasn't like the phone company or the electric company. Oh, the electric company is really fast. I got Brian. Brian seems to be a very common name out there in Silicon Valley on these support guys. He sounded to be, mid-20s, very early 30s. Brian was very focused. And that's good. I like people who are very focused on their job and accomplishing a task. And this is going to sound very sexist and hateful, but I'm sure glad I got a guy. And a guy who, this is also going to sound very ethnically racist and things, an American guy. I don't know, he may have been living in some sort of resort, and, well, let's not make it worse, Joe. Let's just leave it as I got an American guy out at Apple, whose name was Brian. He spoke standard English. I could understand him. The connection was clear. What more can you ask? I'll tell you, I've had occasion to call Apple. This is now the 4th time. Yes. And every single time I know they're going to stick with me till the problem is solved. And this proved to be the case. Now, today it took about a little over an hour. Well, that's not counting the Johnny Cash songs, which at least, there were other songs I enjoyed, but at least I enjoyed the Johnny Cash songs that were played as part of the wait music. So, I explained the problem. He started off by asking for the serial number of my current machine, and I didn't follow my own rules and did not answer the question. I said, that's not the problem. He says, tell me the serial number of your machine. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be, I immediately realized my mistake. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be obstructionist. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I really want to solve the problem. And I told him the serial number of this new machine. And so then we were fine. Then the date could start. Because it really, in the end, it sort of became like we'd been on a date. I don't know if he sounded like my type or not. Well, hell, it's the West Coast. It's San Francisco. Who the hell knows? So anyway, what happened was, of course, I went to open the QuickTime 7, which is actually QuickTime 7 Pro, which I'd installed and upgraded, well, now almost 2 years ago. And Lord knows I'm not going to try to talk him through this. But he's welcome to give it a shot on his own. So I let Brian sort of take over my machine for a while, and we did all sorts. I mean, he tried a lot of stuff. My son once said, "I'm the most persistent so and so in the universe." Well, I have to admit, I wouldn't have been persistent enough to figure this problem out on my own. Although I could see maybe some months back I might have been persistent enough to solve it on my own. Although I would have had to have been increasingly willing to click possibilities that would have required me to spend money. And I think you all know how I like or don't like to spend money, particularly on things I've already spent money on. So I'll tell you, Brian needs to get like about 18 gold stars and a couple of days off, and it's interesting that the final solving of the problem was, he himself sort of expressed a bit of surprise. This guy had a very even strain the entire time. I'll try this. No, I'll try that. Let's try this. All right. And then finally, when he suggested something and it worked, he said, "Oh, that worked? You saw that worked?" and they said, well, let's shut it down and open it up again and let's see. And it worked. So now I'm able to use this QuickTime 7 Pro on my new machine to talk to y'all. I don't know. Maybe I'll take my Canon camera out and try to splice something together. Well, that was my intention. Where's my outline? Where's my outline? Oh, there it is. But for those of you out there who might have this software installed on your machine, QuickTime 7 Pro for Mac OS X, who have updated to Yosemite, particularly on a new machine, but at least one of those two conditions are obtaining here. You're going to have problems when you first start to use this thing because it's going to act like it wants you to buy the program again. I don't know. Now, maybe these guys are going to get to work and fix that right away here shortly, but that's the case. I can't believe I'm the only one that they've encountered with this problem. I don't know. I mean, what do I know? I am but a simple country anesthesiologist, plying my computer and YouTube craft. Well, all right. Now, so I'd move the computer around and show you how I did the dishes finally. I broke down. I did the dishes. Well, dishes such as they were, I mean, most of them were these plastic food containers that Paul brings home, free food from the hotel. I'm certainly not griping about that. Now, one of them had apparently warped under the residual hot water I poured out from when I make tea, although others didn't. Well, I guess this was just a weak link in the chain. And we all know that in the struggle for evolutionary progress, the weak link in the chain gets eliminated. Even the really bad food container. It's my goddaughter's birthday, 25th birthday. My goddaughter, Bryn Marie Bethel. I can use her name. She's my goddaughter, Bryn Marie Bethel. Her dad died here a while back, fell down the stairs and brained himself. God bless him. She's 25 today. Good for you, Bryn. You know, if you were in the Middle East, well, in certain parts of the Middle East, trying to have an education, these various fascisto terrorist guys be trying to kill you. Good for you. And then I want to talk, I want to talk briefly, but we all know that sometimes doesn't happen. It might now. About some very caring, understanding responses to my night video that I did the other night after a fairly problematic day on Tuesday. But I've gotten a couple of very I've got a couple of responses from guys that have basically, they may not have said overtly, I've been there and I've had that happen to me, but they understand. And that's very nice. I'll tell you, those are far kinder, more understanding responses than I've ever gotten from people that I have ever interacted with here in Central Ohio. Even among people that have, always been very kind and decent to me. So, and then I found interesting about the technical limits of night vlogging. The camera actually does a pretty reasonable. This particular Canon 320 HS ELPH or ELPH 320 HS Power Shot does a fairly good exposure. Excuse me. For nighttime exposures. Excuse me, but it's autofocus. It doesn't like to try to autofocus at night. It does eventually, but it's not as readily autofocusy as during brighter light. The 16 megapixel sensor really, I think saves the day a little bit on a lot of that stuff. So, and then as a final thing I'd like to say today, I hope I would never have to say today, one of our stalwart individuals at church, who went in the hospital here a few days ago with respiratory distress. Turns out that's probably due to an exacerbation of her chronic renal failure. And so she's now going to actually have to go have, have to either start dialysis or have, 1 or 2 time episodes of dialysis to get out of this situation. And so we'll all be sort of waiting to see how that goes. Praying, hoping. So that's the day, and I didn't have to have a Canon camera in sight, did I? But at least I've gotten this thing to work. It ought to. I paid $30 for it 2 years ago. All righty. Bye-bye, YouTubers.